Shalom, family. It's good to see all of you here. Oh boy. You know, I guess when we are talking about the issues on social media, especially things that concern our community, I think a lot more people are watching than you can ever imagine, to the point where a lot of the issues we've been talking about for the last couple of years are now the reason why many people are turning on Joe Biden in the community, and rightfully so. At the end of the day, do these presidents, I don't care which one it is, including Obama, how much have they done for us? They do nothing. They just talk a good game. And then they spend the next 4 years ignoring us and never giving us what we want, because they're still practicing that benign and neglect stuff. And see, what we have to do is reverse that on them. Play their game, but beat them at their own game. So there are things going on at an unprecedented level. People are turning on Joe Biden. And I mean, a large segment of the community is now turning their backs on Joe Biden, and they are vowing not to vote for him. So he's so worried, ladies and gentlemen, that he called Obama to the White House as if we were really connected to Obama. We weren't. But that's why Obama is there. So, he cropped up a few days ago and went to the White House to help Joe Biden. Well, that was the reason. That was the reason why Obama showed up. Joe Biden is fully aware that he's losing his black base. He knows. And I'm sure his aides and people around him are watching what we are saying. But see, what he fails to realize, Obama's no influence in the black community. Shoot, more of us was killed when Obama was in office. And Obama did not try to push through reparations the whole time he was there. He wouldn't even, if y'all remember, he wouldn't even talk to the Congressional Black Caucus. Not that they're anything to us, they're just another useless group when it comes down to our issues. He didn't talk to them the whole 8 years he was there. He would not meet with them, he would not talk to them, nothing. Okay, so just those actions alone, he was not interested in helping us, but he was interested in that vote. And the problem is, we got to get to the point where we are not going to allow anybody to use us again. Thank you, Backup Trick 44, for the super sticker. We got to stop letting ourselves get used, especially by the Democratic Party. What have they done? The Asians got a crime bill. Nobody has gone through more hell in America than us. But they were able to leapfrog them over us during the pandemic and gave them a crime bill as if they were suffering in this country worse than us. You know, we got to really examine why they don't want to protect us. And here's my explanation. I mean, you can agree with me or not. It's too much money being made off of us. It's too much money being made off of crime in our community. It's too much money being made with us being jailed. It's too much money being made from our deaths. Just think about all the money they make. The media even makes money off of our death by doing our stories and getting the sponsorship behind the news station. And then you have the police, the coroner, you have the courts. Everybody's making money off of us. So, because they are making so much money off of us, they don't want us protected. They don't want that. All right, hold on here. I got to get caught up. Enoch, thank you for the super sticker. Um, Maccabee OG, thank you for the super sticker. And Brian, thank you for the super sticker. They make too much money on us, y'all. They make too much money. They don't want us protected because that would shut down many things. All right. So that's my explanation. It's all about money and why they won't give us the protection that we need. All right. They're not going to make that kind of money off of Asians because we know they don't mass incarcerate Asians in this country. So they're not going to make money off of them in that same manner. All right. And so we have no crime bill. They just signed the anti lynching bill a few days ago, and that's not going to do us any good. If you think these cops are not going to continue to say every lynch man and woman in this country is a suicide, they're going to absolutely do that. And the bill is going to be for naught. They're going to keep right on screaming suicide. So then there's no investigation, nobody's accountable. And it really screws the family too, because if they got an insurance policy on them, they can't collect on the insurance policy because it's a suicide. So we get screwed all the way around on that whole thing when there's a lynching. All right. So really, they're screwing us over with that as well. And then there was the George Floyd bill that was up, and they pretend like they couldn't pass that. It's amazing they can't get nothing done when it's us. But anybody else, LB, LBGQ, LBTQ, oh, they can do everything for them. They can do everything for Asians. They can do everything for Ukrainians. But they can't pass that bill, which would have at least gotten rid of qualified immunity. And you heard Joe Biden, he don't want that gone. See, they want them to keep that protection because you know why, ladies and gentlemen? They think so little of us. They think there should be no accountability for our deaths. If we die, we just die. Nobody's accountable for that. Or the famous one, we're responsible for our own deaths. That is the biggest lie they could ever tell. But they do. They know in their minds and in the minds of Joe Biden, the reason why they don't want to pass that because they don't think that there should be any accountability for our deaths. He can't come out and tell you that, but he'll say things like, oh, no, 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 you can't take qualified immunity from cops. I mean, they almost got the cops in America at fake Jesus level. I mean, seriously, that's what they have. Fake Jesus level. So I think now, and we've always been fighting for reparations in this country for well over 100 years. And they always have an excuse. They're always stalling us like, oh, we need to do a study and all of that. When other groups, like the Ukrainians, you didn't do no study. You just forked over the money. And I got some videos coming out about them at the border. Ladies and gentlemen, and I'll probably do another video real soon. Joe Biden told Border Patrol to not enforce and be lenient at the border for the Ukrainians and just let them through. But they're not doing this for Africans that show up at the border, Caribbeans, or anybody from South America. They are giving them preferential treatment up at the border. So I'm going to probably be talking about that in more detail in my video tomorrow. So let me go ahead and share my screen and let's get to this story. All right. See if I can do this. No slide. See if I can get this load. Oh. Okay. All right, here we go. On. Okay, maybe I can't. All right, I was hoping I could, but that's okay. File. No, all right. Let me just share my screen. Oh, okay. I showed this picture because, this is the only time they want to heavily interact with us is when it's election time. Oh, they're ready to come around you. They're ready to come to the church and eat dinners and come and dance and sing around you. And then when that's all over, you get ignored and treated badly, you know? So we know this. Now, the midterms are coming up this year, and there's a huge concern because a lot of people are now, especially the black base that Joe Biden once had, it's fading away. So Democrats are desperately trying to understand what's roiling the electorate heading into a brutal midterm environment. So now they want to find out in real time how Americans are, how are things going leading up, especially for the Black community, to the 2022 midterms. So there were discussions that recently went on, and they started looking at the Black base. And the ones that always voted Democrat are 25 on up. And then there's a youth base, which always voted, many of them vote Democrat, and they're between 25 and 39. So, what's bothering many of these people in these groups? Inflation, crime. People are exhausted over the pandemic. People are no longer feeling confident in politics. Deep frustration that President Joe Biden and Democrats have failed to deliver on their early promises. Sympathy for Ukraine mixed with the lack of enthusiasm for Biden spending too much money and time on this issue. People feel that he's spending way too much time on Ukraine Russia war and not spending enough time on the American people. And and it's a whole host of things. And also, some people are really upset over these little airlight sentences the insurrectionists are getting. So, there was a recent poll done, And Biden's decline in approval from Black voters and millennials has been well documented. And of course, it has the rise of inflation, crime, and pandemic fatigue. So they are taking notice at the White House that more and more people in the community are less interested in Joe Biden. So, ladies and gentlemen, the economy. A cottage industry of White House officials and left wing media critics who talk to each other on Twitter has convinced themselves that the media is responsible for the public overwhelming focus on bad news of inflation rather than the good news of low unemployment and rising wages. The focus group, this is what they're saying. This is what the Democrats are saying. So to me, that's just another way of saying I take no responsibility when it really is their responsibility. Okay. Another a black woman said she's upset over the food prices and gas prices, the food shortages at her local Whole Foods, and the increasing costs of housing. So that seems to be an issue. And another group, a black man from Houston, talked about trying to subsist on 12 to 13 per hour. This is what, they are getting per hour on their job. And they're trying to look for a better paying job. And it seems like he's saying around the Houston area, that's all he's being offered is either 12 or $13 an hour. And he said no one can live off of that, especially with inflation. And he's absolutely right. And so it went across hours of conversation. So the rising costs of food, gas, education, medication, and more dominated issues. So Amazon pays their employees. Some of these people are nurses and or they're nursing assistants or they work in retail stores, and they're saying Amazon pays better than that. So a lot of these employees, I mean not employees, employers are saying they're losing out to places like Amazon that pays way more money, and they just became a union on top of that. So, and they're also looking at Joe Biden's record on Build Back Better, the bill that collapsed. And Biden and many Democrats began talking about last year the two big wins, the American Rescue Plan and the bipartisan infrastructure law. Well, that's not going to save the Democratic Party. All right. So, one black woman participant said she didn't feel much urgency about the midterms because this moment the Democrats are running the White House and they are not getting much done. All right. So crime, it was impossible to ignore how much it came up. A black man from New York complained about the bail reform laws in the state that led to repeat offenders who get arrested and released and are rearrested in less than 24 hours. A black woman from Philadelphia area, she wanted something done about gun violence and carjackings in the city by repeat offenders. So here's the Ukraine thing. There was a divide between the first group of black based voters and the second group of millennials, white based voters. Black voters were more openly skeptical about the wisdom of the recent $14 billion in aid package for Ukraine. After hearing the price tag of the bill, one black man, he was also a Biden voter, replied, they need to take that money back and give it to black people for reparations. Man, I couldn't agree more. So it has been a lot of questions. And, since the war, that is a time when a lot of his base in the Black community broke away from him. They're outraged at all of the money that's being spent on the war, and America's not even involved in the war. And they're right. Now, I can see providing aid, but Biden is providing aid like we're in the middle of this war. Like we got boots on the ground over there. You spend that kind of money when you're in the war. You're not even in the damn war, and you are just, it's like every day you wake up and he's got more money to send. And don't forget how many of them are coming here living rent free. Many of them are. And I was listening to him. Remember, I think it was over the weekend, he was calling Putin a war criminal. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell does America think they are? You killed over 1 million people in Iraq, but you're calling Putin a war criminal? Wow. It's like no accountability when it comes down to the things they do, but we're supposed to pay attention to Putin and what he's doing over there? I mean, no, I don't care. I don't live in Russia. I don't have to care about Putin. I don't live in that country. You know, all of these presidents are war criminals. I mean, it's not just George Bush. It's all of them. All of them are war criminals. All of them. You know what? They have killed so many. I don't know if you can count. I know it's got to go beyond 1 million in America of us they have killed alone. Mike C, I see what you wrote. You said they've killed 1 million Black people here. I believe it's way more than that. I think it's way, way more than 1 million. Oh yeah, yeah. One of my relatives said they showed up on their job and they're training them right now. And I said to them, they're going to be living better and eating higher on the hog than you are, who've been here your whole life. They're going to be living better than you. I mean, they are just giving them all kinds of money, everything. I mean, it is just unbelievable. The tiger, the ghost tiger 144. Hold on, that went by kind of fast. The biggest concern, all of us, how shall I? Yes, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. You know, a lot of people, let me just say this. It's bad enough that we get insulted every single day in this country over our race. Now we gonna have somebody come in here with some effed up accent and try to insult us too and be racist. Oh, that ain't gonna go over too well. that ain't gonna that ain't gonna go over too well over here. We're not those Africans over there. And if they step up on us, it's gonna be a whole different outcome. For real. It's gonna be a whole different outcome if they try that mess over here. Cinnamon Star 808, thank you for the super chat. Ukraine can kick rocks. You know what? Yeah, because I mean, look, we're not the ones for them to come over here and try to mistreat. Like I said, we are not those Africans. They're gonna find out real fast. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. Okay, you know how we are. You know how we are, y'all. They step too out of pocket. We gonna be rolling up on their butts, and y'all know what I mean. We'll be showing up at their front door. They ain't used to that. That will send them over the edge. Y'all know how we roll up. That's what we do. We roll up at your house. We will be protesting you right in front of your house. And see, they have never experienced that over there where they came from. But if they come over here and get too out of pocket, you know how we do. You know how we do. Okay. And they gonna be running for their lives. But yeah, there are a lot of people now that are saying they're absolutely not voting for Joe Biden again. And many aren't even concerned about the midterms at this point because they are so upset. You look at all of the money that have been given. You know how much this could have been a preliminary amount in reparations for this country. But as you can see, the subject of reparations came up, and Joe Biden seems to blow these things off as if it's not important. But somehow, people that are not citizens of this country have suddenly become more important than anything else. And I do agree with the people that were polled and said he spends more time worrying over Ukraine than the citizens here. I 100% agree with that all the way. Okay, I agree with that all the way. And what happened to HR 40, y'all? And what wasn't that supposed to be some big topic? You see how that just fizzled out? You don't even hear about that. Or you don't even see any hearings, no meetings, no nothing, nothing. It just disappeared into thin air. But we knew that was a bunch of nothing. We already knew that was nothing. Oh man, I saw some pictures of Hunter Biden this morning and I almost I was just cracking up laughing. No, there is a picture that was I think the Daily Mail actually had better pictures, and one of them, it showed Hunter Biden's teeth, and his teeth are all wore out from doing meth, and they just look disgusting. Then there was another picture of him pulling the hair of a prostitute on, I guess it was a hotel bed, and he's standing behind with her hair, like pulling on her hair. I mean, I saw some crazy, crazy pictures. And I know the guy that released it said he moved to Switzerland because he feared retaliation from Biden. But you know what? When you really think about it, y'all, if a black man did the same thing as Hunter Biden, he would be in jail. Now, he's being accused of being involved in drug dealing and prostitution. Now, if that was a black man, you know they would have had him in jail by now. But because he is the son of a politician, he gets to go under the radar for all this time. But if it was anybody from our community, they would have grabbed them up by now. They wouldn't care if they didn't hardly have no evidence. They wouldn't care. But he's getting away with this because that's his son. But do y'all remember the time when Joe Biden was running for office and he said that black parents could not read and write? Do y'all remember that? You know, he got everything bad to say about us, but what about your parenting skills, Joe Biden? Look at your son. What happened to him? I done seen so many pictures of his behind high, it's not even funny. It's so many pictures online, you know? And you know what the funny part is? Black people are actually the most literate people in this country. You know why? Because we were denied reading for so long. Many of our people snuck and learned how to read. We are probably the most literate here. So yeah, so he's getting a slide when he really shouldn't get one at all. Um, Carlette, thank you so much for the super chat. This is what Black people voted for, and more Black American veterans are living in the streets of America, but Afghans, Mexicans, and Ukrainians get billions. Hashtag hold the vote. Well, the Afghans, many of them are in Airbnbs, and these 100,000 Ukrainians that are coming, they're going to put them in Airbnbs and rental homes where they're going to be living rent free in America. Now, can you imagine that? We got people being evicted that can't get no help. But these folks are coming and they are going to live free of charge. And you mean to tell me we're supposed to look at this and say, oh, that's all right. That's all right. I'm fine with that. I'm not fine with it. I'm not fine with that. Donovan Ben Yehuda, America is responsible for the death of every one of our people who have died on American soil, whether by their hand or natural causes. They should have never put their hands on us. I agree. Thunder, thank you for the super chat. They see that a critical mass of us are on code, and now they're working feverishly to replace us. That's why they need a white supremacist group similar to themselves. Thank you, Carlos, for the super sticker. Carlos Dexter. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the bottom line is we're watching Joe Biden sit there and do for everybody except for us. But we knew from the start he would do this to us, but we never knew it would be to this extent. This just surpasses anything. Um, Donna Sharif, thank you so much for the super sticker. Judah 843, thank you for the super sticker. Yeah, well, with 100,000 of the Ukrainians coming in, plus they're piling up at the US Mexico border, it's going to be a lot of them here, y'all. It's going to be a lot. And, probably before the summer get here, you're going to see them around you. It's going to be a lot of them coming. Yes, I remember James Richardson. Yes, I remember the 94 crime bill. And the funny part is, based on his crime bill, his son should be behind bars. Okay, based on his own crime bill. Francis, thank you for the super sticker. Hey, how is it up there in Canada? And M4002019, thank you for the super sticker. Wasn't the gas up in Canada like $10 a gallon? Is it still that high? I mean, it's crazy here too. Well, I mean, look at it this way. They got LGBTQ, they got the Asians, they have the immigrants, they have now the Ukrainians. All of these people that they prefer over us, all they got to do is gather them together and get them to vote. That's the way I see it. All the people they do for should be running to the polls and voting for them. And we should be just sitting the whole thing out. That's the way I see it. We should be sitting it out. The daughter of Mighty God, too. Thank you for the super chat. I mean, hey, let them vote for him. That they want to look. They're the ones they want to do for all the time, right? So Biden got people. He got a new base of people, right? That they can run to the polls and vote for him. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Aiden, Judea, thank you for bringing that up. You got homeless Americans that could have used that $14 billion. You could have gotten many people off the streets in America and put them in housing for that amount of money and cover their rent. And how are you? I can't get over it. How do you cover the rent of non-citizens, but you got people here on the verge of being on the streets, but you won't take care of their rent? You won't do nothing to help them with rent. Boy, this place should go to hell in a handbasket. But y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. I thank you so much for being here. Yeah, no reparations, no vote. There you go, Yami. There you go. No reparations, no vote. But I'm glad our people are finally getting their wake up call and paying attention to what's going on. You know, for far too long, our people always tried to ignore the fact that we always got stepped on. So now we're getting to the point where, you have no choice but to wake up. You don't have a choice. You're watching. Our reparations are now in the hands of the Ukrainians. They got your reparations. And he didn't need no study. He did not need a group of people. He didn't need no panel. He didn't need none of that. Carlette, you said I was evicted and I paid my rent for 6 years. And now I am on the streets due to a Mexican lie. I am so sorry. You're on the streets. You shouldn't be on the streets at all. That is just not safe. What state are you in? Charlotte, what state are you in? If you can just answer me, just tell me what state you're in. No, I don't want to hear anybody on the streets, especially my subscribers. But they'll do more for a foreigner that aren't, not even from here than a citizen in this country that have paid taxes and worked hard in this country, but they see fit to give it away to people that haven't lifted one finger over here. And in my opinion, the European nations, there's a bunch of nations all around Ukraine. Why can't the Europeans take them in? There's all kinds of countries around there. Charles Hicks, thank you for the super sticker. There's all kinds of nations all around them that they can go into, especially if eventually they want to just go back to their country, then you're close enough where you can go back. I even heard some of the universities here were keeping some of these folks in dormitories. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Darlene X, that's right. Poland, Romania, Germany, France, the UK. I mean, all of those countries, they should be able to take in those folks. California, Sacramento, California. Okay. Send me an email. Do you have my email? Hold on. Let me put it in the chat. Send me an email. Yeah, California is very expensive, but if you're out on the street, you can't even say, "Hey, I'm out of here." What are you going to use for money to go elsewhere? So, just send me an email and let's see what we can do for you to help. I'm willing to help you if you just reach out to me. We'll see what we can do. Yeah, well, unfortunately, she's not alone, and there's a lot of people all over this country that are on the verge or already out on the streets. I did a few stories on people that went to the hospital for treatment, and when by the time they got out, they were already evicted. So, I mean, these things are happening. All right. So, no, I now have 7 years of bad rental credit. Yeah, well, that can't be helped. You're not alone. There's a lot of people that are sitting with all kinds of debt. But just send me an email. Let's see what we can do for you. Maybe we can raise some funds. We can do something for you to help. You know, we'll see what we can do. Just reach out to me, okay? All right. All right, everybody. Thank you, Eddie X, for the super sticker. All right, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll definitely come together again. And everybody stay strong because we are going through some tough times in America. And unfortunately, it is not going to get better. All right, everybody. Shalom, family.